You are watching the Randy and Christa show. I'm Randy Alvarez.
And I'm Christa Orecchio, and this is news that makes you healthier. Today we are talking about vitamin and mineral deficiencies and how they can imbalance your hormones, make autoimmune conditions worse, and really just generally make you tired. How do we fix those with naturopathic doctor, Dr. Lauren Noel, who is local right here in Solana Beach. Welcome to the show, Lauren.
Thank you. It's so great to be here with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you.
So thanks for coming on the show. You know, I have been looking for a naturopathic doctor that went to one of the accredited medical schools close by. Didn't even know you were right there in Solana Beach. So
Perfect.
Very excited about having you on the program. I know Christa has a lot to talk about. A lot of questions, for you.
Yeah, Lauren, let's just start off. I'm curious, what are the most common nutrient deficiencies that you see when a patient comes in your office that is kind of unnecessary and can be rectified quickly?
Yeah, and how are they impacting the health of your patients? And when you, eliminate those nutrient deficiencies, what are you seeing in your practice?
Yeah, so I would say I test nutrient deficiencies in every single patient. This is an area that's extremely important because your body needs building blocks to function optimally, right? So if you are eating a really healthy meal, but you're not absorbing it, you're going to get some deficiencies over time. You can think your diet's perfect, but you can still rack up some deficiencies. So the most common ones I would say that I see in most patients would be B12 is one of the biggest ones. Even if you're eating meat, because it's located in animal products. Zinc is another one that I see in most patients, and also vitamin D most people are deficient in vitamin D. And let me just take one of those in particular. So vitamin D in particular, it's actually misnamed. Vitamin D is technically a hormone. It's not a vitamin. And there's a receptor on your cells, and every cell in your body has a receptor for vitamin D. If you're deficient, you're going to be more at risk for cancer, for autoimmune diseases, and you're going to get sick, like colds and flus more frequently.
Now, what about vitamin B12? When you say even if you're eating high-quality animal products, people are still deficient, is that a gut issue? Is that a hydrochloric acid issue where the B is not getting delivered?
You're so smart, Christa. I love that. She's so smart. It's so fun to have conversations with you because you really know this stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things that are required to absorb vitamin B12. One of them, like you said, is stomach acid. So if you're deficient in stomach acid, you're not going to be absorbing it. And what's the biggest thing that depletes stomach acid is stress. When you're stressed, your body doesn't care about digesting your food. It wants to get the heck out of whatever the stressful situation it's in, so you're not going to absorb those nutrients. So you have to really reduce stress to absorb the B12. And if you're low on B12, you're going to be tired. It's required to make energy. So that's why B12 shots, people love them so much because they get energy from that.
So what type of testing are you doing in your practice to find out if somebody's low on B12 or not absorbing B12?
Yeah, so we run a very comprehensive nutritional panel that looks at all the different vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and looks at it within your cells, actually looks at what's getting absorbed into the cells. So it's not just a typical blood test. You can't really get this from, like a conventional doctor's office. It's a specialty lab. But the good news is it's covered by most insurance plans.
Now, by the way, about B12. Okay, so I have a friend, Robert, who watches this show. And I told him I was going to ask you about this, or not you in particular, but I was going to address this on the show. And that is that he is a Nexium guy. So he's not producing, and he's tired all the time. This guy's the most lethargic guy that I know. And he's okay with me mentioning that.
Okay.
But he says, don't tell me it has anything to do with my Nexium. So what do you say to guys like Robert, a lot of women on Nexium,
who are on acid blockers? That's
the reason why Robert is so tired is because he's blocking the stomach acid in his stomach, so he's not absorbing the B12, among other things like magnesium, calcium, zinc, folic acid. All of those nutrients require stomach acid. So he's tired now, but wait a few years, he's going to be dragging. So someone like that, it would be especially good for him to do nutrient injections. And more importantly, look at the root cause. Why is he having to be on Nexium in the first place? And there's a lot of things we can do to test for that.
So you heal that with nutrition in your practice. And I know
Absolutely.
Christa does in hers.
Yeah, for sure. It's something Christa, I know she has a lot of experience with that as well. Yep.
So in your practice, you help people get off Nexium with nutrition, and you see it all the time. And I also know that Christa works with that, with nutrition in her practice. But it's like my friend Robert says, Randy, if I don't take it, I'm in pain. I'm suffering. So what do you say to people like this?
For sure. And medication isn't evil. It's addressing something, right? It's serving a purpose. So you have to look and see what is it that's causing this, this GERD for him, which is gastroesophageal reflux disease. So he has this pain in the esophagus. But most of the time in those situations, there's actually not enough stomach acid. And so the food doesn't digest completely. So it ferments, it expands, and it goes up into the esophagus and then it burns. So instead of giving them the Nexium, you have to look at, okay, well, let's actually get the stomach working better, maybe supplement with some stomach acid, some enzymes. And sometimes it's caused by a bacteria, which is H. pylori. That's a real common cause of that pain, those ulcers that can form in the stomach. So it's just, you got to do a little more digging. You can't just treat the symptom.
Yeah, I love that. And as this goes out nationwide and through the Midwest, I think that's really important for viewers. If you have an ulcer or you're on Nexium, get tested for H. pylori. And so I want to ask you, Lauren, now what foods do you use to help train the body to start producing more stomach acid?
Well, there's some different kinds of vegetables in particular that they're called bitters. They can help to stimulate some of those digestive juices. So like dandelion, or maybe some of those more bitter foods like spinach or kale, or just more of the grains can do that. A real easy one is just adding some apple cider vinegar. So maybe just do a spoonful of apple cider vinegar before your meals. And that'll start to get those digestive juices moving, so you can actually absorb the food you're eating.
Great.
Now you have a radio show. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you have a radio show. How do people tune into that? How do people find you there?
I have a podcast. Yep, we air it every week. It's Dr. Low Radio, so it's DRLO Radio, and it's on iTunes as a podcast. So it's free. It's every week we're doing it. We've recorded over 100 shows. So there's a lot more information on those shows. They're about an hour each, so it's a lot of juicy stuff.
Yeah, that's an awesome podcast. You have over 1 million views now, or listens. Congratulations.
Thank you.
People can learn so much from you. On the stomach acid thing, I also use ginger. Do you use that to help people boost their stomach acid?
It's a good one. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so what other nutrient deficiencies are you seeing? And then I want to talk about liver health.
Yeah, magnesium is one we didn't talk about. Magnesium is used in over 300 reactions in the body. So if you're low in that, then obviously you can imagine there's a lot of different body systems that are affected by that. So if there's like leg cramps, foot cramps, maybe problems sleeping, magnesium can be a great one you want to add in, either as a supplement or foods more rich in magnesium can really help to do that. And also, as I've been mentioning with malabsorption, if there's an issue not absorbing, then using maybe injectable nutrients or even IV therapy can be just miraculous for many people.
And I know at your clinic, Shine in Solana Beach, you do a lot of injections, and I think that's going to be new to a lot of our viewers.
We need to go there and get some of these vitamin drips.
Please, come and have an IV party.
Well, let's go do a shot party. Yeah, so
okay,
I know.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, let's talk about, so speaking of injections, glutathione, which is the best antioxidant for your liver, and I know that you do injections and IVs of glutathione, so let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, and let me ask you this. How does somebody know, somebody watching this, how do they know if they may have a liver problem?
Well, one easy one is, let's say you drink a little bit more than a drink or two and you feel really bad. That could be a key sign that your liver isn't able to handle the load that you just put on it. So that's one in particular. Also, if you have just other things like maybe your skin itches, or maybe you have acne in particular, we've found a lot of times acne can be connected to liver health and also digestive health too. So it doesn't always have to be something with the liver. You can have other symptoms that can give you some clues.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do, what do you do? Like a liver detox in your practice?
Yeah, so what I would probably start with for most people would have them go on a really clean diet for about a month. So we do elimination diet, take out most of the common allergens that's causing the problem, have them avoid alcohol for about a month if they can handle that. And then we'll do, adding in some nutrients, some herbs, detox powders and smoothies, those kinds of things, just to help them get real nutrient-rich food absorbed. And then we can step it up and do different kinds of shots and IVs as well. I customize the programs for people because everybody's really different in what they need. Like Christa was saying with glutathione, we call it liquid gold in our practice. It's literally your body's most abundant antioxidant. So it helps to detox your body from the inside out. It's amazing stuff. And we can do 100% glutathione in an IV treatment. It's painless. You don't even feel it. And it really helps to boost that detox.
Is there like a chelating effect with glutathion, by the way?
It does. Wow.
I mean, does it get rid of what? Like
he knows his stuff really too, see?
Well, I've been dabbling in glutathione over the years, actually.
Yeah. Yep, you're right. It does. And what chelation means is it binds heavy metals and removes them out of the
Yeah,
body.
yeah, that was my question actually that I wasn't sure of. Okay, so but with glutathione, unlike chelation, I mean, does glutathione also get rid of some heavy metals or no?
It's more of a mild binding that it does. If you do it over time, it can help to do that gradually. But there's other ways we can kind of step that up and do more, like individualized chelation programs for people. Like if someone has high mercury or lead, then you can use the IVs for that, very specific agents for that.
Okay, so Lauren, this is great stuff. And I want to talk about a little more, if you can tell us some foods that people can eat that will help their liver. And I am curious, I have always heard that the liver regenerates itself every 72 days if you're giving it the right nutrients and foods. Is that true? Do you know about that?
The liver is miraculous in regenerating itself. I don't know the exact parameter if it's 72 hours, but it's pretty quick.
I think she said 72 days, yeah.
72 days.
72 days. I was like, wow, that's really amazing. Christa has the liver of a god, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah,
so with a healthy liver,
foods.
yeah, but foods. So what are
Yeah,
foods,
so
I guess,
food-
for a healthy liver? I'm not clear.
I know Christa and I have a very similar perspective on food, that we really view food as medicine, and I really believe that every single plate of food can be medicine on your plate. You can have it every single day and exactly what your body needs. So trusting your cravings is important. Some of the most nutrient dense foods would be eggs. Egg yolks are actually loaded with really healthy fats. It's also high in vitamin A. It's also choline, which is a really amazing nutrient too. Also, liver is not the most favorite food for most people, but it's loaded in B vitamins and also vitamin A, which is a common deficiency. And then actually oysters, believe it or not, oysters are loaded with zinc. I think I made you eat an oyster, didn't I, Christa?
Yeah, the last time we had dinner, I hate oysters because they're slimy, but
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I felt stronger. My testosterone built on the moment right there.
Yep, it's great for your blood sugar, your immune system, your hormones. Oyster, that's why it's an aphrodisiac, because it helps to boost zinc, and zinc is great for all of that. So those are three really nutrient-dense foods. And of course, the leafy greens. I mean, you can just eat to your heart's content with greens like spinach and kale and, mustard greens and chard.
Now, of everything you mentioned, and we mentioned my friend Robert on earlier,
Yeah.
but I posted on Facebook some eggs. He goes, I can't believe you're eating egg yolks. And so what are your, because everybody's afraid, a lot of people are afraid of egg yolks, right? Because of their cholesterol and everything else.
Yeah.
So can you let these people know?
Eat the yolks. Just eat the yolks. That's all I can say.
Eat the yolks,
It's
yeah.
loaded in nutrients, and there's nutrients in the yolk that balances out the nutrients in the white. So if you're only eating the white, you're going to get some deficiencies over here. So you want to balance it out. It's the person upstairs is smart. They're meant to go together. So eat those yolks.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Nature doesn't make a mistake. So Robert, if you're watching this, nature doesn't make a mistake.
It doesn't matter what we say
myth.
because Robert will not change.
It's a myth that eggs raise your cholesterol because they contain lecithin, which is a fat emulsifier, which breaks down the cholesterol in which they contain.
So when you see people that eat just egg white omelets,
oh, horrendous.
you don't like that.
Yeah,
Would
they
you
don't get
date
enough
somebody
protein. Oh, this
that has
dating question.
No, would you date somebody
Dating
that was
question.
afraid of yolks?
Yeah, well, now, I'm sure I would, but I would train them to eat egg yolks, and I'm sure they would with the very next time we ate
If they're
together.
coachable, right? They have to be
They're
coachable.
coachable.
So egg
Kyle's
yolks, don't be
coachable,
afraid of
right?
the egg yolks.
Yeah,
What
so-
haven't we talked about? We have a couple of minutes left, and I know you have to see patients. By the way,
Also
is that your office? That's a very soothing.
Yeah.
You said you're going to meet a
Yeah.
patient. The colors
is
are
my
great.
office.
There's a candle.
My office is very happy. It's very uplifting. It doesn't have that sterile medical vibe. You come in here and you feel very pampered and taken care of, and you leave feeling charged, and that's really what I wanted. You feel better.
Do you treat patients like something over the telephone or via Skype? Do you
Yeah, I
offer
do,
things
because
like
my-
that?
Yeah, my radio show, I mean, half my patients are not even in the States, so I can do phone appointments, Skype appointments, absolutely.
And how do they find you, Lauren? What's your website?
My website is drlaurennoel.com. That's my website, and then shinenaturalmedicine.com for our practice.
Awesome. And
Can-
Dr. Low Radio is your
And drlowradio.com.
And one of the things we haven't really mentioned, but
final thoughts.
do you see a lot of transformations though in your practice every week with just
All the
using
time.
food as the medicine? And give me some of the biggies, some of the big turnarounds, and we have a couple of minutes.
Reversing diabetes, I would say, is one of the biggest ones. Reversing autoimmune disease, healing the thyroid. I've had with detox programs the thyroid getting better just from that, not even changing medication. Digestive disorders is one of my favorite things to see. So I have a patient right now with raging ulcerative colitis, and she is symptom free at this point. And this is like unheard of stuff. This isn't even supposed to happen. But when you get out of the way and allow the body to do what it's supposed to do and use nutrition and heal it, then it's amazing what can happen. It's life-changing.
It absolutely is. You rock, sister. Thanks for doing
You
this
rock,
good
sister.
work.
And brother.
Okay, good. And we're going to have you come here live in the studio one of these days because you're so close.
But we're going to come get
love to.
shots. We're
Love
going
to.
to come get some B12 in the
Yeah.
hip, glutathione.
That's what I want, the
You need one
glutathione.
shot on camera. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah, field trip. The Randy and Christa show.
We'll go on the
Field
road.
trip.
We'll
We're
get a
going
big
on the
motor
road.
home.
Yeah.
And decals on the side. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Very, very interesting. And you know what? We'll have to have you come back. What's your favorite topic, by the way? Like if something that you love talking about.
Yeah, I love this one, but I also love digestive disorders. I absolutely love, and I love talking about hormones too. I think both of those are really fun to do.
Can you give us the symptoms of a digestive disorder? Are we talking about gas, bloating? What else?
Constipation, diarrhea, abdominal pain, heartburn, or maybe you have, your stools aren't very good. Maybe they float, they smell really bad. You have undigested food, you have mucus in the stool. I mean, you can get really descriptive, but people deal with this stuff and don't talk about it. So your poop says a lot about you. So we could do a show of what your poop means, what your poop says about you.
Cool.
All right. Thanks again for coming on the program.
Thanks,
Have
guys.
a good one.
See you later.
soon.
I think my favorite doctors are some of the great naturopaths that are out there. These NDs that she prescribes also bioidentical hormones. She does nutritional IVs.
And sometimes
chelation therapy.
antibiotics. I think that's the takeaway is, like she said, medicine isn't evil. It's let's use the best of both worlds. We're going to stop band-aiding the symptom. We're going to get to the root cause, and we're going to use the best of both worlds to
So
do
you've
it.
met her.
I know her, yeah.
Okay. And so when you went out, you guys had oysters?
Yeah, we do a weekly or a monthly, kind of mastermind meeting with health practitioners, and health practitioners love oysters, and I find them kind of gross. They're so slimy.
Yeah.
And she forced me to have one, and it was fine. It was at Solace right here in Encinitas, and good quality oysters.
Okay, so nutrient deficiencies, and so they could do this with you or with her. They just take a test.
I run a test, it's called the Nutri-Eval,
Okay.
and it goes over every vitamin, mineral, macronutrient, everything in your system.
Is that the one you want me to
Antioxidant.
take?
No, I want to test your brain chemistry,
Oh,
see what's happening
brother.
up there, but we can
That's
run that
rude.
one too.
I think that's rude for some reason. Should I not take that
you
personally?
think that's rude? It helps me understand the map
I'm
of a
saying, what
person.
about nutrient deficiencies, and you're more worried about my brain?
Randy, you talk about cravings all the time, and I want to see what's happening up there so I can help you figure out the
I know
root
what's happening.
cause.
I feel like because when I eat right, okay, like good proteins, good carbs, I'm fine.
But you
so I
should
could go
be
fine
able-
for a week with total self-control, and then I'll eat one bad thing because somebody will talk me into it, pizza or whatever, and then I'm off the deep end.
This is a topic for another show, but you shouldn't have like good foods, bad foods. And you should be able to live an 80-20 balance. Let me finish. An 80-20 balance, right? Where if you just have one thing, it's not going to send you off the rails. And that's what I want to help free you. So if you have one piece of pizza, you don't want to eat the whole pizza.
Okay, this is the thing
Yeah.
that you and many other skinny nutritionists, this is what I call them, that and I used to date somebody, you know her, big, giant, tall, muscle lady, right? No, she's big and tall. And she
She's beautiful.
said, well, you could have one cookie, or you could have one, based on her. If I have one, and there's a group of us out there, that
Well,
if
right.
I have one, I'm telling you, I could have it slow, I could have candles going.
Okay.
I'm off completely, it triggers something
Yeah.
that,
So we're going to have a
so I feel
case
like bad
study
foods
show.
for me are bread, gluten. Those are bad foods for me. So what's
Dairy.
wrong with keeping those out of my life?
No,
for
keep them out of
almost
your
ever,
life.
if
But I
possible?
think it would be a great show because there's other people out there like you. We'll call it Good Food, Bad Food. It'll be a case study on brain chemistry. But back to this show, to do a recap. Nutrient deficiencies, Lauren, everyone, we kind of all have the same philosophy. Give the body what it needs, take away what it doesn't need, it will heal itself. It's not rocket science. It
Okay,
really isn't.
okay.
But the mainstream thinks it's rocket science, maybe because they still want to sell all these diet books, right? And so vitamin B, the recap, all the variations of vitamin B, like she was talking about, if you can't handle alcohol so much, you might be low in B1 or B6, and that can help the liver as well.
Well, there was something, maybe you could answer the question, because I don't know her like you do, but she mentioned, she didn't use the word hangover, but I said, how do you know if you have a bad liver? And one of the symptoms were that if you drink, you feel really bad.
Sure.
Is she talking about hangovers? Like some
She's
people.
talking about a hangover.
So
Well,
if
what's a hangover, right? You're tired, you have a headache, you're lethargic the next day, that's pretty much the sign that the liver is not having an easy time metabolizing the alcohol. And I know lots of people that they can't even have one or two drinks.
But I heard it was because of dehydration.
Well, of course, that could be
It's
part
causing
of it.
okay.
But alcohol depletes your B vitamins. Alcohol lowers GABA. And alcohol has to be metabolized by the liver, and if the liver is already toxic, if that sponge is already full, can't take anymore, and so therein lies the problem.
And some people are better detoxifiers than others. That's why certain people can live to 90 or 100 years old and drink a lot and not ever have a hangover
I mean,
somehow.
there's genetics. Some people have inherently strong livers, and because of their diet or however it works, we're all kind of our own universe of biochemistry.
Okay, and today's show was about nutrient deficiencies. But then you made a statement, we talked about it, and we sidetracked a little bit about this brain panel that you want me to do.
Yeah.
And so you believe, what are you going to see there? And then I can target some amino acid, something, and my cravings are going to go away? Because I'd love for that to happen.
Because I can also tell about I think something's off with you and dopamine, quite frankly.
Right.
So I can tell also if there's inflammation in your brain. I can tell if there's inflammation in your GI tract. So by looking at the neurotransmitters, and then I can also tell which excitatory neurotransmitters are in balance or not balanced, and which inhibitory. And I always say, hey, I can tell you more than your best friend once I see your brain panel. And so we talk about your cravings a lot, and so I want to help you get to the root and see if we can get a shift. Like this has been something you've been working through ever since you were a kid.
But it seems to only be when I eat certain trigger foods for me. So I have to abstain from those foods. And there's a guy, famous guy, I don't know if people have seen him, Jeff Life. I met him last week.
Yes.
He was just here by the studio. That's the guy, he has an older head. This is what Jay Leno said. An old head and a young body.
Yeah.
A lot of people have seen him on those Synergenics ads. He's no longer affiliated with them. He's a medical doctor. He has a master's in nutrition, and he's also a PhD in pharmacology. But he was saying as long as he eats clean, he has no cravings.
Yeah.
But if he's like that one pizza away or one cookie away from going completely
Off
ballistic.
the deep end.
So you are saying that maybe him and I, because there's this secret crowd, we don't tell you about, but I know a few that one thing, the 3-bite rule of it doesn't work for us.
It doesn't work for you. The 80-20 balance doesn't work for you, and that can be limiting in life and in social engagements. And so we'll talk about it further.
But do you think, because we have a few minutes here, because I want to learn something here.
Okay.
Do you think that maybe I have some sort of a
chemical imbalance?
Chemical imbalance.
Yes.
That if I take these supplements, possibly, right? That I can have the one cookie or the pizza.
Yes.
And if it works for me, then it'll also work for my muscle friend with the old head.
Reason, logic would beg so. Yeah. Let's try it.
Well, I'd love that.
Yeah. Let's try it. I mean, because that is so freeing, right? Where you can be out, you can have one cookie, and that's emotional freedom. I love seeing it in my clients. I love that I experienced it myself, where you learn the art of dipping without diving. Like you say, you dip, you dive. But what about dipping and then coming back up? The idea of correct and continue. Oh, I had that one cookie. It was good. Moving on. You don't think about it. It's gone, even though there's still a plate of cookies on the table. So I'll make it my personal mission to get you there. But now going back
to
these
the person
deficiencies.
that's an alcoholic saying, look, I just have one sip of wine and I'm fine.
You're saying who used to be an alcoholic and now they can have a drink and they're okay?
No, they can't.
Yeah, well,
Because
like
there's
I said,
something
Randy,
going on.
Everybody is so unique. So sure, that could be brain chemistry, it can be genetic, it can be lifestyle driven, having these addictive patterns and habits. But I always, when I see in my practice of former alcoholics, they become sugar junkies. Because now you're talking about a pancreatic issue and it's an actual biochemical reaction. The body is used to getting a certain amount of sugar. And so if we can heal the tissue of the pancreas, if you can give enough enzymes and you can shift the diet to start to stabilize and balance things, you can remove that emotional quotient of, I'm bad, I can't do this, I can't dip without diving, I can't have a sip. And I'm not saying to go back to drinking because there's so many other factors involved. But if you can just look at it from biochemistry, things can be healed.
Okay, so I'm going to do this test.
Okay, let's do the test.
In the next couple of weeks. And if people want to find out more, because they could also work with you. Because you don't really take on new people, but they can work with you on your quarterly program.
So I don't take on private clients right now, but I have an e-course. You can find it at thewholejourneyonline.com. And my whole thing is I teach you to become your own best doctor. And it is the most, it's like my legacy. It's everything I know in one place where you get lifetime access. And there's live webinars with me where I help you fine tune to these specific questions that you're asking. And almost anyone can get healthier, clean up their relationship with food, balance their hormones, digestion, all the things we were talking about with Dr. Noel in 3 months, and that's empowering. My philosophy is don't give a man a fish, but teach a man how to fish. You know, how do I empower you to stay healthy for the rest of your life so you don't need me?
Okay, good.
So back to the recap of this show. So I suggest everyone, if you think you have vitamin mineral deficiencies, to take a full spectrum multivitamin that's food-based, that has at least 100 milligrams of B complex, 400 milligrams of magnesium, 100 milligrams of zinc, and a bare minimum of 1,000 IUs of vitamin D, food-based vitamin D3 a day. That could cover a lot of these.
Okay.
And then make sure you're doing the things to stimulate enough stomach acid, right? I can get people off Prilosec, Nexium, all that, 3 weeks time. Like Lauren was talking about apple cider vinegar. Put a few tablespoons of apple cider vinegar if you can stomach
Before a meal?
it. Well, 1 teaspoon before a meal to stimulate HCl. But just to get rid of GERD, I'll have people start off with 1 full tablespoon in 16 ounces of water, so double this, every morning as soon as they wake up. Within 3 weeks, just start building enough stomach acid you can get off the little purple pill. Talk to your doctor first. But so she talked about bitters, which you can find in the health food store. Ginger. I have my clients do a ginger pickle. So they peel the ginger root, then they slice it thick with a carrot grater, and then squeeze the juice of a lemon on it and put sea salt, and kind of just put it in a jar. And then you have it, and that's food-based, and you take 1 bite of it, and you chew it, you secrete all these juices, you spit out the pulp before a meal, you'll digest that meal so much better, you'll get so many more nutrients, then you can take less supplements and feel healthier.
So what is I asked her, in your practice, how does somebody diagnose that without taking the test? I mean, how do you know for sure that you have a nutrient deficiency? Is there any particular symptoms that go along with standard nutrient deficiencies?
Well, like she was saying, when you get muscle cramps, and especially foot cramps and leg cramps, that's magnesium deficiency.
Okay.
And I mean, not being able to think clear and being bloated and tired all the time is a sign of B deficiency for sure. Zinc, when you get sick all the time, the first bug that comes by, you could be compromised, or low testosterone, you have to test that, but that could be a sign of zinc deficiency.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and then, look into glutathione. It is
How often do you do that, by the way?
miraculous. It depends how crazy my schedule is, but I'm in this zone now where on the way up from Fox, on Thursday mornings I go to Fox, I stop by, I get a shot in the hip of a bee cocktail. I get choline and inositol too in my brain, for my brain, vitamin C and glutathione, and I do that.
But the glutathione in a drip, is that 20 minutes?
I just get a shot. So there's a shot where you get a smaller amount. And then the drip, is
So
a full.
every
There's a
week you get
difference
the-
between an IV.
so
Not
every
every week, but when I'm in periods of higher stress, I'll go every week for a month and then take a few months off. Or if I think, oh gosh, I'm getting ready to fly and I'm going to be back to back in meetings at night, I go get a shot.
Great.
Yeah.
We're out of time.
That was a
Great
good show. I
info.
hope it's helpful.
All right, you've been watching the Randy and Christa show. I'm Randy Alvarez. It's Christa.
And we'll see you guys next time. News that makes you healthier.